Let us look at the interplay between bias and variance in the context of regularized least squares. So this is a estimation theoretic perspective. So suppose that there is an optimal x star and the distribution of the observations, so these are observations, so they are normally distributed with mean ai transpose x star and variance sigma square. Now, so we are given yi and we are given ai. So these are the feature vectors and yi are the observations. And then the least squares estimator. So the least squares estimator is given by x hat of ls equal to arg min 1 over n summation over I equal to 1 to n yi minus ai transpose x. So compactly this can be written as a transpose a inverse a transpose y. Now if you want to find out how good x hat is, you can observe that there are two properties. First is that x hat is unbiased, which means that if you take expectation of x hat of ls, right, so if you take this expectation, then you would obtain expectation of a transpose a inverse a transpose y. Now observe that y was a random variable with mean ai transpose x star. So that was the mean of yi. So therefore the mean of this would be a transpose a inverse a transpose expected value of y, which is equal to a transpose a inverse a transpose, and then y would be replaced by ax star. So this is equal to x star. So that is why we say that the least squares estimator is unbiased. Further, it is possible to calculate the variance of x hat. So this is given by expected value of norm square of x hat minus x star. Right, so this is the variance of x hat and it evaluates to be sigma square times trace of a transpose a inverse. Right, so you can please verify this. Right, it is known in estimation theory that the least squares estimator achieves the Cramer-Rao lower bound. Right, so the least squares estimator achieves the Cramer-Rao lower bound and it has the lowest variance among all unbiased estimators. So among all estimators that have this property of unbiased, among all of those, the variance of the least squares estimator is the lowest. So from this perspective, the least squares is really an optimal estimator because first of all, it does not exhibit any bias and it has the lowest variance that unbiased estimators can have. But there are scenarios where the CRLB, the Cramer-Rao lower bound, can be high. So the question that we should be asking is when can CRLB be high? Since the expression for CRLB depends on A transpose A inverse, we can conclude that CRLB would be high when A transpose A is poorly conditioned or ill conditioned. So when A transpose A has very small eigenvalues, then A transpose A inverse trace of that would have very large values. So those are the scenarios where CRLB can be very high. So for those scenarios, perhaps CRLB is not the best metric because it is measuring the variance of unbiased estimator. So it's not necessarily a good metric because it depends and is very high whenever A transpose A is nearly singular. And perhaps we should look at a different metric. So earlier we were considering the estimation problem where given y1 to yn, our goal was to generate some x hat and then compare it with x star. We can instead consider the prediction problem. So the prediction problem is more commonly considered in machine learning settings, where again given yn1 to yn, our goal is again to generate x hat, but now we do not compare x hat with x star, but instead generate the prediction ak transpose x hat. So this is equal to yk hat. So we are given a new ak, and we use that to generate the prediction yk hat and then compare it with the actual yk for that corresponding ak. So this is the prediction problem. How do we measure that? How good is the prediction? So how good is the prediction? In the context of estimation, we were measuring using the mean square error. Now we look at the mean square prediction error. So the mean square prediction error, or MSPE, is given by expected value of yk hat minus yk square, which if we expand is given by expected value of ak transpose x hat minus ak transpose x star minus nk. So remember that yk is still, so just to recall, yk is still ak transpose x star plus nk. So the model remains the same, but yk hat now is ak transpose x hat because x hat is our estimate of x. Now observe that this x hat depends on, so this is calculated from the observations. So this depends on y1 to yn. On the other hand, nk corresponds to a new observation. So this is coming from a new observation, and k does not belong to this set 1 to n. So k is a brand new observation. It does not belong to those observations which were already seen. So therefore, nk and x hat are independent. Right? So nk and x hat are actually independent. So this means that we can split this calculation as expected value of ak transpose x hat minus ak transpose x star square plus expected value of nk square. So the reason we can do this split is because the cross term vanishes. Nk is zero mean, so the cross term vanishes. Now we can again split the first term as follows. So if you remember, the variance of any random variable y is given by expected value of y square minus expected value of y whole square. So this allows us to write the first term as expectation of ak transpose x hat minus ak transpose x star whole square plus expectation of ak transpose x hat minus expectation of ak transpose x hat whole square. And then the last term becomes sigma square. So now we have three kinds of terms here. Let's have a look at each of them carefully. So this is called the bias term, and this is called the variance. So you can observe here that it is actually the variance of AK transpose X hat, which is the variance of the prediction, right? If you remember, this was YK hat and this is expected value of YK hat. So this is the variance of YK hat, and this is the bias of YK hat. So we have the split, that bias of YK hat plus variance of YK hat plus sigma square, right? And this part is inherent, so this depends on the noise which is inherent to any problem, but the mean square prediction error can generally be split into bias plus variance. In fact, this is bias square plus variance. In the case of least squares, observe that bias was 0 because the X hat was 0, was unbiased, so therefore the predictions are also unbiased, and the variance is given by sigma square times AK transpose A transpose A inverse and then AK. So you can verify that the mean square prediction error, the variance is given by this quantity. But that is only a single example, and it is not necessary that this is always the case. So in general, while the mean square prediction error depends on both bias and variance, either of them could be small or large. And you could have the mean square prediction error to be small or large depending on what bias and variance both are. So it is generally not necessary that bias has to be small. Let's take a pictorial example for this. This picture here demonstrates this idea. So if you imagine the red circle or the center of the red circle to be the actual point, then low bias, low variance corresponds to all these observations which are clustered very tightly around the center point. On the other hand, one could have a high bias and a lower variance, where all those points will be clustered away from this red circle, but they are still clustered tightly. While in this case, if you see in this case, you have several points which are scattered around while they are surrounding the red circle. So here the bias is very small, but the variance is very high. And of course, you could have both high bias and high variance. So this is an example which demonstrates that the mean square prediction error, which depends on both bias and variance, could be small or large depending on both of the quantities bias and variance. We have seen that least squares, the bias is small, but there could be scenarios such as when A transpose A is ill conditioned, when its variance could be high. So this could be the least squares. On the other hand, let's look at the ridge regression. So we have already seen ridge regression. Let's calculate its variance. So the ridge regression is given by XR hat equal to arg min over x y minus ax square plus lambda times norm square of x, which is in closed form. It is given by A transpose A plus lambda I inverse A transpose y. Now let's take a simple case. Let's consider the simple case when A transpose A is equal to n times identity. So in that case, so then it can be observed that XR hat equal to n plus lambda inverse times A transpose y. Now if you remember, x hat of LS is equal to A transpose A inverse times A transpose y, which would come out to be 1 over n A transpose y. So from these two, we can observe that x hat R, the ridge regression solution, would be given by 1 plus lambda by n times x hat of LS. So remember that x hat of LS was unbiased, right? Remember that expected value of ls was indeed x star, but that is not the case with xr hat. So expected value of xr hat is given by x star divided by 1 plus lambda by n. So in other words, the ridge regression solution is biased, and in fact because xr hat is biased, the predictions will also be biased. So there is a bias in ridge regression. Nevertheless, we still saw that the test error for ridge regression for some cases was smaller. So that is because something like this was happening. Even though there was a bias, the variance was small, and the result was that the overall bias plus variance was therefore small. We can similarly have a look at the lasso regression. So in case of lasso regression, the L1 norm is solution is given by argmin of y minus ax norm square plus lambda times L1 norm of x. Here, if we take A transpose A as n times identity, then it can be seen, you can verify that it would be of the form argmin of x hat of ls minus x norm square. So this will be solution in terms of x plus lambda times L1 norm of x. So this would be actually be the solution, and it would come out, you can verify that it would come out to be this, where s lambda of x of ls is the soft thresholding operator. So in other words, what we will obtain here is that the ith entry of this would be ith entry of the least square solution soft threshold, and soft thresholding operator looks like this. So this is lambda, this is minus lambda, this is the plot of s lambda of x for any x, right? So we are doing this kind of operation. And what were we doing in case of ridge regression? We were multiplying it with 1 by 1 plus lambda by n. So we were basically scaling it. So this was the ridge regression operation, and here we have the soft thresholding operation. So both are different, but both are, again, this is a biased solution, and therefore what it is doing is that it is increasing the bias while at the same time reducing the variance, so that the overall mean square prediction error is minimized. So these are two contrasting applications, the least squares and the regularized least squares, which deal with bias in a different way. Both are biased solutions, the regularized least squares, the L2 norm, which is the ridge regression, and the L1 norm minimization, which is the lasso regression. Both are biased solutions, but they improve upon the mean square prediction error by reducing the variance. And this bias variance interplay, or the bias variance trade-off, is very fundamental to a lot of problems whenever you are dealing with estimation or prediction problems.